hello. Yeah, glad to spend some more time with you today. And today we're talking about autumn leaves and how to improvise over autumn leaves, the changes of autumn leaves from the 5th edition real book from Berklee College of Music. It's a real fake book, I guess. I don't know. There's a history there, and many of us have it. And I've had mine bound professionally so that it lays flat in a 3-ring binder, and the perforated edges actually have a nice plastic binding on them, so the pages don't rip out. So you could put a little effort into those books, and it's money well spent. But we're talking about improvising and playing solos, sort of navigating our way through the a lot of us have sort of questions about how to get through the song, if we were to solo through it. The first thing to understand is the changes. We're playing in the key of, it's 1 sharp, so the key of G, but A minor begins in A minor, and we'll go right through the chords as if it was like an Eric Clapton song. Eric Clapton did a really cool version of this song. And we could start right in open position, A minor 7. I'll just leave these here and assume that you can find those or pause it and study my finger patterns. And then D7, and then G major 7, and then C major 7, and then F sharp minor 7 flat 5, and then B7, and then E minor. Those are all open position chords. We'll go through again because the song repeats at that point. A minor 7, D7, and then G7, and then C7, C major 7, and then F sharp minor 7 flat 5, B7, second time around to E minor, and hang out on the E minor again. But we approach the F sharp minor 7 flat 5. We're really pushing on the 2-5 of, we'll call it 1 minor, E minor, right? So the key of E minor. And then A minor 7, back to the changes from the beginning, only that we're in the B section now, in G7. And then F sharp minor 7 flat 5, and then B7 with a flat and 9, that's 2, 1, 2, and then fret 1. And then E minor 7, E flat 7, D minor 7, and then D flat 7, and then C major 7, and then B7 flat 9 that resolves to the 5 of the 6 minor, or in this case the 1 minor, right? So we're in the key of E minor. We come to learn at the end of that sequencing through the chord progression. So that's the entire form. 8 bars repeated, and the next 8 in the B section, or kind of a continuation of the B section, and the C section sort of brings us back around to the top. They're all 8-bar phrases. And the next thing we would need to do before we start to solo is really be sure we have that melody locked in. So we have, and I'll just walk us through it. G major 7, F sharp minor 7 flat 5, and then we go back to the A minor 7, to the G major 7, and then to the C, and to the E minor, right at the end of the phrase. And then B7, actually the approach to the melody to that, let's see. Here's the B7. So we'll start with E. Right, so there's that phrase that leads us into the B section. Okay, so we basically worked through the whole melody there. Just reading through the melody and basically getting to the point where we can read through the melody. Now we can start playing through the chord changes, which are A minor 7. We'll take these one at a time. It's going to be sort of a longish process, but it's if you're here for the right reason. You know, we're here for the right reasons. We want to sort of expand what we know about what we can do through a sort of a jazz standard song like Autumn Leaves. This is a gateway song to all the things you are. So we have that, you know, A minor 7, which is really guitaristic shape here. Let me turn on the flashback. If you see my volume sort of start to disappear too, I'm also using an Ernie Ball volume pedal, so I don't have to keep reaching for my, my turn knob here, my volume knob here, potentiometer or something, whatever that's called. So we have A minor 7, which is basically the same as, A minor pentatonic. And if you're Eric Clapton, you know that you're going to make it safely and soundly through this entire song with only the A minor pentatonic, right? And sort of just deviations from that, altering that minor pentatonic as we go through. So the minor pentatonic is a great thing to do. So we have that, and we're going back to the top. Chromaticism goes a long way. Why play it if you can't take a little bit of a risk here and there? So the triad that I would play over the A minor 7, I would play this one, and then for the D7, just for the sake of being conservative about this, just a part of that D. That shape, I would try to play that all in one position if I can, just to discipline myself to get through the song, to know that if I don't have any other positions on the guitar, I could still make my way, I could suffer my way through the song, So we started with A minor 7, and then the D7, and then we have the G major 7. C major 7, and then the F sharp minor 7 flat 5, which is going to come in at there's no 6 in there, right? So there's this is a different one because we're relying on our 4th finger. So you can just pause this video and just check this out here. Right. And then the B7 flat 9. So the B7 flat 9 is going to come in. We're going to have a B note here, right? So we've got that. We could use an augmented shape there if you wanted to. But the flatted 9, I always use this dominant 7 flavor. This is the first way I learned this with Tom Hoffman. It was 1, 3, and again, we're on root with B7. So 1, the 1 is the chord tone 1 of B, so it would be B. 1, 3, 5, flatted 7, and then this would be a nice 9, which we would hear in neo soul or Motown, you know, or James Taylor or any other number of places, Toto. But we've got this nice flavor of this flatted 9 flavor here. And we'll go from the root 3, 5, 7, flatted 7, and flatted 9, and back down to the root again before continuing on, because it's 1, 3, 5, flat 7, flat 9 is what we're illustrating, and then we go back to the octave, the next octave that we would have started. Okay, so that's really important. That's a beautiful shape. Oh, and it resolves really well too, you know, to that minor, that 5 of the E minor. So we've got that E minor 7. I would just try to stay in as close to one position as possible. So that's the entire, pretty much the entire set of chords, except for we can start back again. Sharp, F sharp. So everywhere we go, we're basically playing altered versions of G major scale, right? And then there's this nice A minor 7 again, and then to D7, and then G major 7. F sharp minor 7 flat 5, and then B7 flat 9. And then that runs up into E minor 7, E flat 7, and then D minor 7, and then D flat, and then C major 7. Or we could use this one. Back to the B7 flat 9 into the E minor, right? So I would take a look at, you know, the melody. Okay, so we have this really cool idea that a scale that we would use doesn't need to conform to the, you know, it doesn't need to conform to the key signature. We can use half step. The beauty of this whole thing is we can use half step approach notes. So let's say that this is applicable to any chord, but let's say that we're in the starting chord of A minor 7, right? So we've got beautiful A minor 7 happening here. Let's get some juice on that. Yeah, so you get this beautiful sound. I can use the 4 in there too. I don't have to stick on the A minor 7. we could stack fours if you want, or as close to we want, as close as we can through the minor pentatonic scale anyway. And that's kind of a almost modern sound 10 years ago. So that's a really cool exercise to run through. Another thing that we could do on just A minor alone, we've got this beautiful A minor. We can use that. A minor. What is this? It's just 1 flat 3 5, and then repeat it an octave up. And then so an octave above that would be 1 flat 3 5 on the starting in 5th position. Be on 7th position. So we've got this nice. I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose you. But just be sure to pause things and try them out. Rewind it. It's just kind of like learning. If we were learning on vinyl, you have to just pick up the the needle, and then drop it back down. So we've got this nice A minor. We could also turn that into A minor 7. And land on a 4, right? Flat 7 1, flat 3 5, flat 7 1, flat 3 5. Ooh, a little bit much there. So we've got this really cool 6 we could add for color. We could, depending on where we want to stop, and then. So we can use all kinds of these little cool. Don't forget to kind of be expressive while we play too. That's important, I think. So we have chords and triads. So the chords are going to be. Let's take a look at the D7 and see what we could do over the D7 as it relates to G major. So all of these chords are relative, or they're related directly to G. Most of them, G major, right? At least as far as the song is concerned. So we have D7, which is, if we relate the notes in the chord of D7 back to the G scale, that's a 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and that's it, 5, 7, 9, 11. So basically upper extensions of a really cool sounding chord, right? Suspended sort of sound, but let's see. Let's stick with that. Goes kind of in a different direction. But if we wanted to do the D7 arpeggio, we're kind of thinking about the G chord. The G chord, the G scale, the G major scale. Everything wants to resolve back to G. Excuse me, but that D7 we could also arpeggiate, if we basically just run the G major scale but start and end on D's. That's dominant, D7, right out of the gate, right off. With no alterations, nothing, bells or whistles, nothing, nothing spectacular. It's just a mode of major, 5th mode of major mixolydian. And that sounds great. It's got got everything I need to be a musician. And then we could also do, because it's a flatted 7 with a major 3, we could also sort of do that 2-note per string thing here. A little challenge. Getting from the G string to the B string, because there's quite a string skip there, right? So that's quite a study, just kind of hanging out with D7. And then the G major 7 is going to look like. You know, like that. It's got this really beautiful sort of, you know, sonority. Kind of like we're landing home, right? Kind of feeling it as a gravitational center. Okay, so we can really play the G major scale there, which is what it just did. Or we could just use the, you know, 2 notes per string, G major. I guess we could use the G major 7 arpeggio there too, right? Which is a very nice way to play it. You know, 7 1 3 5 7 1 3. This is sort of a Kurt Rosenwinkel thing, you know. You'll hear me kind of botching. I don't practice that much, but it's a very nice thing that I think I will practice more. And then we could just use G major 7 in the, one position. You know, there are a lot of ways to play that. So G major 7 could look like 9, G major 9, 1 3 5 7 9, 1 3 5 7 9, and that was a really popular thing to do. In some musical styles, the sort of like bop or whatever, you'd kind of approach, and there'd be a half-step approach note that dips into the beginning of the phrase, and then you arpeggiate all the way through the pattern, and overshoot it, and then resolve on the note that you're actually targeting, right? So there's a little curve there that is very exciting musically. And you can do that technique, 7 1 3 5 7 9 1, that pattern. You could do that on every arpeggio for the song. That's why these songs are so great, because we can really use each chord. There aren't too many of them. There are a lot, but there aren't too many of them. Like the C major 7, I could do the same. We could do the same thing there. Now we're stepping outside of the position that we were. That 5th position that we started in. But we're still remembering, everything's G major scale. There's that C with major 11 or, sharp 11 in it. Great stuff. But we have 1 3 5 7 9, 1 3 5 7 9 1. So that really is applicable everywhere. We could just walk through the scale. And just find these little goal notes. So getting used to all of these arpeggiations is what's important for us. So we have discovered 2 forms of arpeggiations for each chord. One is to just walk through 3, 5, 7 flat 5 minor, 3 flat 3. Whatever the formula may be for the chord of the moment, we're just walking through ascending all of the notes we can in that position. And then we also started with right. So we started with it'd be more appropriate on the seventh position. So we have 7 1. This is C now, right? 7 1 3 5. 7 1 3 5. 7 1 3 5. Those are great little pieces of kit to bring along with us along on this journey for sure. The B7 is just sort of like, you know, we covered that. You could use minor 7 flat 5 to make that B9 anywhere. Anywhere that it's not B7 flat 9, you could substitute B9 there for it. So you could use that minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio, you know, a third above, beginning on the 3 of the B, right? So for example, B, do, re, mi, then that's the beginning of the minor 7 flat 5. Very guitaristic shape, even though it's relating to B, right? So we've got this really nice shape there. We could also do the flat 7 3, you know, 5. And then E minor, we could do this really beautiful. This is sort of a guitar pattern from late 80s. Maybe it was in Guitar Player magazine with Reb Beach on the cover. You know which one I'm talking about. But I would use, you know, position playing again. I'd use this 1 flat 3 5 flat 7 1. That's a great way to do this. We could also do this, you know. You know, as harmonic minor too, if you wanted to. And then with the 9 on the top. 1 flat 3 5, major 7 9, and then back down to the root note. Remembering that we're in E Aeolian for the most part, because it's the key of G, right? So we could also use E minor pentatonic pretty safely here. B7 flat 9. Well, let's take a look at F sharp 7 flat 5. F sharp 7 flat 5 is another chord in the mix, and we're going to study it. We're going to study all of these. There are only a small handful more, so I encourage you to kind of stick with it and hang out or bookmark it and come back to it. F sharp minor 7 flat 5 is all over the guitar neck, right? This is a great one. Because it, you know, kind of relates back to F sharp minor 7 flat 5 with C in the bass, right? With the flat 5 in the bass, and then so it's 2 minor 7 flat 5 to 5 dominant 7 back to 1 minor. Yeah, great stuff. But F sharp minor 7 flat 5 with a root in the bass is very common to play on the guitar like this. Fret 2 on the low E, choke the A, second fret on the 2 middle strings, and fret 1 on the B string. Yeah. So we've got that nice F sharp minor 7 flat 5. F sharp minor 7 flat 5 there again, and oh, here again, and then there again, and then all of these arpeggiations are pretty important to know. But I would just play the F sharp minor 7 flat 5. the F sharp Locrian mode, which is basically G major scale, just starting on the F sharp note. Whatever. And then there's this really cool B7 flat 9. Finally, we're here, and we're going to basically, we could use a lot of different shapes for this, but I'm going to use, let's try this. Let's try mode 5 of harmonic minor from E minor, E harmonic minor. So we're using E harmonic minor, 1, 2, flat, 3, 4, 5, flat, 6, major 7, and then 1, right? But now we're starting same notes, but we're starting on a B note. So it's B, flat, 9, 3, major 3, 4, 5, flat, 6, flat, 7, and 1, flat, 9, major 3, and then 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1, and flat 9, and then 1. Kind of works really well with that B7 flat 9 arpeggio we talked about just a moment ago. And then there's a really cool thing happening here. So those are most of the chords. There's a descending pattern where it sort of comes to the end of the song. Oop. What is it? F sharp minor 7 flat 5. Something like that, right? So the B minor 7 is going to be, we're talking about the descending line. That's really cool. So you hear that obviously the bass player is going to have a field day with this. Those are tritone substitutions of the 2, 5, and then 2, 5 of it's a lot. It's a story for another time. But we've got a 2, 5, 2, 5, 1, right? So 2, 5 of 2, 5 of 1. We'll call that 1. It kind of feels like we arrive at C major 7 for a while, and then it takes a sharp turn to E minor, right? So there's not much rest there until we're delivered back into we're reminded that, oh yeah, we're in a minor key, and fortunately for us, we like to play in minor keys. We can relate to these keys, these key areas as musicians. So for that descending pattern, the E minor 7, E flat, first of all, I would learn all of the arpeggios. So if I was playing E minor 7, and then I knew that it was that E flat minor 7 was a substitution of A7, I would just learn the A7. Right? That's a really... So there's some cool stuff happening there. But if I wanted to just kind of... how is that going to work if I... there is a path back to the E minor. If we use E minor 7, E flat 7, descend the D minor 7, and then ascend the D flat 7. Right? So we've got this really cool song that is basically... have that F sharp minor 7. Don't forget, we're walking in an E minor, or yeah, G, basically G major or E minor. Back to F sharp minor. The theory is that we shouldn't have to supply the chords. We should be able to. We should be able to play the melody and be recognized. We should be able to recognize where we are, roughly. And I'm just kind of fudging my way through that a little bit. But that's the goal, is to be able to solo through those changes and then recognize where those changes are. Get good at remembering where those changes are. What are the changes? Why are they there? If you have questions or comments about what's going on here, don't hesitate to just kind of let me know. There was a lot to cover there. We covered a lot. And I hope you're really good at hitting your space bar and dragging that slider around and trying not to get too far back. But just do that. I like to get used to that. That's how I learn things. That's how I really like to appreciate and dissect those little moments. So I would encourage you to do that too. If you do have questions, don't hesitate to let me know. Let us know, because we do monitor the comments, and we do. That does help to shape the way we travel together, and hopefully this isn't too far away from where you wanted to be. But definitely, there's a lot more room to get surgical on this, and there's a lot more room to create other content around this session. So don't hesitate. Let us know, and we're so happy that you came here today, and that we're so happy that you made it. And we're so happy that you're still playing your guitar and working on expanding things. It's hard to explain, it's hard to express, but there are moments where I really appreciate all of the things that happen in life, good and bad. But when we get a chance to make a joyful noise, we probably should do that.